Well, here's another thing too. I am curious if this is also part of it. They're going right now. Disney's going through a massive transition, right?
Oh,
You
the
have
layoffs and all that.
well, they have that's part of it, right? They have massive layoffs that just happened to the VFX development team for Marvel,
Smart.
which was the biggest hit.
Super
They had
smart.
some for Lucasfilm, I think, and then some more animators, and it was a pretty big layoff. Lots of people that worked there for I think 20 years. Pretty much the entire time that Marvel had their cinematic universe, a lot of those teams were laid off too. So you have that, which doesn't look good publicly. It just does not look good well on Disney, who already has kind of an issue going on for their publicity. To just start laying off a bunch of people, and then at Cinemacon you show how much great revenue you had for 2026 to 2025. It doesn't look good. Second, you have Kathleen Kennedy leaving, and
That was a long time.
which
coming.
actually, yeah, I know.
She had
but
some good. She had some good things, but that was a major
you have
one.
all these in the past 6 months, right? All these things and changes happening. So they're trying to get their new footing. A brand new CEO who was head of parks is now the new CEO.
Josh tomorrow.
Kathleen Kennedy's gone, and now you have Dave Filoni leading Lucasfilms.
Also, I do wanna. I'm a fan of Josh Tomorrow from what I know of him. So shout out to him.
Because you love parks.
Shout out to Dave Filoni and Lin-Win Brennan for their new roles. I'm saying that because we haven't had this podcast in a while, so like
Yeah,
finally some
sure.
fucking change coming around that's well deserved. May the next decade of Disney media, Lucasfilm, Marvel media be fantastic. I was told, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the head boss. In terms of these layoffs, I was told that this was not a tomorrow decision, that this was an Iger decision about these layoffs. I don't know how that makes sense, so don't quote me, because he's the current head now, and so anytime I hear about layoffs, whether it's one person or thousands of people, my heart breaks for them. I know what it feels like
These dudes were there for 20
to
years.
be laid off, like that, right? And you want to look for your worth. You look to escape from your current problems, which is why films are important. Wink, wink. Enough with the culture war shit. But at the same time, people dedicate their lives. 20 years is not nothing. So I hope, even with the age of AI, that these people will not only bounce back, but be given the dignity, the respect that they deserve. Not just those that are laid off after 20 years, but also the people that are dreaming of joining them.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that now,
No, that's true.
you're what is we Disney just celebrated in 2023, mind you, the 100th anniversary. At this rate of layoffs and this total essentially market submission to AI, Disney will not hit 150
Yeah.
if you don't have animators that bring love, passion, and dedication to what Walt built or to what Lucas brought to the table. You won't have it. You will just have facsimiles.
So here's my worry.
That's-
Here's my concern. Okay, because we are hearing these layoffs, and oh great, you got nice 6.6 billion. I don't know how much the money was at at the same weekend. You announced both of those. It brings about, especially with all this new technology in filmmaking, it's great to have this new tech. It's great to see them adopt gaming tech
Yes.
into like Unreal Engine 5 into into the filmmaking process for the technology side of it. It's also very concerning as someone who wants to be a prospective worker within Disney, someone who loves Disney, that wants to actually be part of these teams. It's a bit demoralizing when you see the entire VFX team, development team that's been there for years just be laid off like they were nothing. There's no appreciation. I think there was one guy, his Twitter or his tweet went viral because he was talking about the irony of him being laid off in front of his own mural.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did you see
today.
that?
The Loki.
And he's been there for like 12,
Wes,
13 years?
I forget his name. Wes.
The Loki
something.
mural.
Yeah.
And
he
was
had
just
a meeting with HR.
he was
for his
just looking at
layoff
it.
into the building that's covered with his art.
and it was like it was nothing.
Jesus.
So, and I think
Yeah,
there's
that's
maybe because it's a very corporate landscape too. of, well, there's always going to be someone that wants to work with Disney and Lucasfilms because we're Disney and Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
But there's also
that
a
goodwill.
fear of,
Yeah.
hey, if I even do, even if I
I might
try,
lose my job next week.
is there any security
Yeah.
that if I get this job, am I going to be appreciated? Am I going to be able to grow enough? Am I going to have enough time to actually work in this space and actually thrive? Or am I going to have to be worried I'm going to get laid off every other week? Like, this is not a good feel. This is not a good atmosphere to developing new artists, new jobs, and new markets, new stories. If your fear is, I can just be taken for all my work, and then I'm going to be laid off by next week with not even a thank you. So this is very concerning in my eyes for these studios, for Disney. It's great that they have a lot of projects online, but you also have to figure out, if you're trying to, in this new transitional stage, trying to figure out how do we balance this new technology and keep the people. Okay, I understand that. But my concern is, my concern is what I've already stated. My concern is you're creating an environment of fear.
And it can breed hostility.
And hostility.
I mean, look what happened to Sam Altman's house.
Oh, Sam Altman had his
I mean,
fire.
I'm not going to speculate on that because that's not what this channel is about. But look at what happened to his house.
Yeah, someone did firebomb his house,
You know?
and
The irony being,
we're not saying
this
people are
is
going to
not-
start firebombing Disney.
No. But the sentiment that it is wrong to do something like that will fade. Like what happened with the Luigi, I forget his last name,
Luigi Mangione, yeah.
right? Again, it's wrong to do something like that. We don't condone violence at all.
Zero.
Okay?
Yeah.
The sentiment of that is when you push people up against a wall, you force them into just desperation. It's human nature to snap. So the reason why I'm saying that, and not to take too much of a segment away from it, is instead of focusing your attention on how desperate you feel, I know on our end, we are advocates for education. Education is not going to go away. The
They're trying
need to learn something, a loose skill, is going to be there. So I would absolutely still promote looking into whatever you can learn on, LinkedIn Learning, I think it's called, Skillshare, Udemy, whatever you can. Go back to your passions. Go back to things that can help you distract your mind and grow your skill set. This whole AI thing, it's a giant corporate drug, if I'm going to be honest. If you drive down the 101 for like where we live in California, you drive down the 101, every other billboard is how can AI for fill in the blank service
Make your life
easier for
Yeah.
your corporate initiative, whatever goals, whatever. Silicon Valley speak.
And I use it in I use it in my own work too.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of our work.
It is a trend. It is a trend, but the thing about it, and this is hitting every industry essentially. They want to go into teaching, which makes no fucking sense. It's dumb. I'm not saying it's gonna pop, but I think the lesson is all good things must come to an end.
Well, I'll add to that. I'll add this because I
Yeah.
do think I've already talked about my point about this, but I do want to add on that essentially one of the great things about as you're young, trying to
Yeah.
come into get your foot into the door for places like these is mentorship,
Yes.
apprenticeship,
Yes.
right? And one of the things that a lot of this new technology is doing is making things more advanced, and it's confusing places like, hey, how can we use this to optimize our production line, optimize our process for doing things quicker. At the same time, you're also laying off a bunch of workers, but you're also like, hey, we still need people to tinker and work with on an expert level this area, but at a smaller level, at a smaller scale. And then when you have a bunch of young people trying to come up, there's no avenue for them to enter as an apprenticeship to start becoming the next generation to lead these new technologies. And so you're just depending so much on the technology, you're forgetting you need the people to understand the technology and teach them, because they don't really learn this. I know
You really, and that's the emphasis. They really do need to have a culture that they're willing to teach them, not just expect them to come in with 10 years of experience, having just graduated from college.
yeah.
So go
No,
ahead.
no, just in terms of experience, because I do know, as experience in media myself, I understand media as a level because I work in it.
Yeah.
But I also need the 10-year veterans, 15-year veterans to teach me new tricks that I have never learned in college or never learned even internships until I got my foot in the door, and they're now teaching me. And it's again, I do think at some point there will be an understanding, maybe a balance, but these things are always increasing and getting better each time, and it's making things look, hey, how much more can we not deprogram, write off? How much more can we write off and not need? But then you're leaving a huge gap for people who are talented, that are there, that are natural at it, and you're not leaving any room for them to enter. And so they're kind of lost, and you're missing the human element of it too. I do think, and what was great is because you did bring up the podcast, The Town, and I honestly think any filmmaker, anyone that wants to work in the film industry or in media, should probably watch this interview, not just because he's promoting Mandalorian and Grogu right now, but because of his understanding himself as a filmmaker, working as a director, a producer, a writer, the new type of technology that CGI gave, but then how it adopted now into these generative AI models. So again, he himself mentioned, I do think this is one of the best interviews just as a filmmaker standpoint, to see how, like, as an insider, how to understand where this new landscape is moving, how these productions are going to start learning how to cut costs and where to hire the talent. Not just
Very George Lucas-esque
yeah,
in terms of technology adoption
and development.
in terms of not being afraid of it. But even George acknowledged that he went overboard with CGI with the prequel trilogy. But there were lessons learned. Some were painful, some weren't as hard. Right, making Mustafar must have been fun, but there were some learning, growing pains. That interview with Jon Favreau by Matt Belloni was a masterclass in how to convince the market that no, AI is not the devil, but yes, AI is a game changer. And yes, AI must be respected
Yeah.
as part of the craft, not to replace the craft.
Yeah, there was a couple moments in there, especially where he was talking with him in the interview.
Oh, you have quotes? Good.
Oh no, not quotes. Just
okay.
specific things, like when James Cameron,
Yeah.
right, was developing the Avatar. That was the next level of like a product that was already in development. Like, I know George Lucas, he did use CGI, especially in the prequel trilogy. There was a lot of funky moments and green screens and all this stuff. And I know some of the Marvel movies were trying to use this too. But when Avatar came out and they saw this scale of which they could really adopt CGI technology and lean into scale of visuals from layered backgrounds and layered characters, that it looks so clean. It was just a way for new directors and story makers to lean into this technology, but not completely eliminate the human element. Like when you said Mustafar, I know they did a lot of art boards and trying to understand it, but it was CGI that was able to render it complete, right? And now with generative AI, they're going to need this is a new technology that they're going to have to try and figure out and lean into, but try and figure out where the talent is too, so they can maybe do these storyboards and then have generative AI do the exact same thing CGI did. Right now, it's just a very transitional period. It doesn't feel good, doesn't look good to see a bunch of people that have been working for 15, 20 years just lose their jobs like that.
I don't know about you, man, but every time I hear stories like that, like Oracle dropping people like flies with a fucking 6 a.m. email, My heart breaks for them.
Oh yeah,
My heart breaks for them. I
'Cause
don't care
they
how
all have
much money
passion
they
for
have
it.
in the bank account. I don't care whether they're top level or lower level. To me, a layoff is a layoff, and that is like watching murder live. In my
Yeah.
a career murder. My heart goes out to them. I wish them all the best. I wish you all the best if any of you watch this show. Keep hope alive.
This is why
Keep it going.
I still hope very highly for a lot of independents.
Yeah.
A lot of independent studios right now are growing.
You were right
A
in
lot
the
of
end. You know that?
why?
You and I used to
Please
talk
tell me if
about.
I'm right.
Yeah, you and I used to talk about independent filmmaking, independent stories are going to boom once AI hits the market. And I used to think that AI was going to make things so much easier for essentially corporate studios at this point. Whatever passion they had once. I thought that was going to make it easier for them to fine tune these films and that they would hire more people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That AI, and this is what anybody would wish, AI is meant to make the process, whatever it is, simpler so that overhead doesn't have to be so much. Your costs go down, in theory, and you hire more people, you bring more into the fold, and you get more product done. Instead, what happened was the opposite. You were right. People got laid off. They want to make independent shows, independent films that are away from these big corporation kind of mentality, big corporate studios, away from those, more indie style films. They become more popular. And with all of this, the company said, well, we just made a profit, supposedly. We made a profit. We're going to start cutting,
Yeah.
which was fucking dumb. So,
I'll mention this one part of CGI that I think people do forget, or maybe they didn't forget. They just kind of get used to it. Which was, yes, when Avatar came out and it showed this new edge, and actually the interviewer did mention this too, which was, I feel, or James Cameron said this, I feel
Yeah.
like, I want to remember the exact. It's fine. It was around the idea that this was a great idea, a great piece of technology that people could lean into, but then you also have a bunch of mediocre takes of 3D movies and people leaning into this technology too much, meaning you're forgetting the artistry behind
much
it
of a good
and you're depending on the piece of technology way too much. It makes it look that you don't really get to touch up on the fine details, which is what the piece of technology is supposed to help you do. CGI was supposed to help you develop these new worlds and technology that you couldn't do. Well, you could draw it, but it was supposed to make it easier as a flow of production, and help you attune that fine detail. And I think people just started becoming more mediocre with maybe of the scale of how quick you had to get a project done, too, because they were trying to, hey, we have to get this project out like in like a few weeks, and you guys
now.
you guys do not have enough time to work on this to fine tune it. We need it now. We need it by this date. We need it by a certain deadline, and so
make
it gets
our
muddied.
billions and then leave.
This technology that's supposed to help you, you're using it as a dependency and not using it as an artistry. This is going to be the exact same version for generative AI. People are going to depend on this way too much and get lazy with the fine tuning. They're going to assume that generative AI is going to be able to do it for them and then not have to actually do the back end part of it. I think eventually things will get muddied. I mean, you're kind of seeing it now with some of the Marvel projects. People are talking about like She-Hulk didn't look all that great in terms of some of the CGI.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
The art was AI.
It just looked weird. And then they look at projects like
they
10
thought
years
was
ago or
meta.
15 years ago, like, hey, why could they be able to do this fine-tuned detail for some of these projects? But then why does it look so much crazier and muddier here? And it's because of the necessity for the speed of like getting project after project out. I think it's going to be the exact same thing for generative AI. It's going to look great now. There'll be a moment where we'll have like our avatar moment with generative AI, and then people just become too dependent and it gets muddied again. So a balance is needed to be found. Oh man,
We didn't mean
It's a
to.
lot.
We didn't mean to go too off track.
we went nerdy.
But
We went nerdy with the
but you know this
second.
part of the trend.
Oh.
It's part of the trend. It's relevant to Star Wars because George was always interested in developing new technologies to make filmmaking easier. He lent out his studios or his ILM team to various other studios, helped make the Star Trek films, helped with Jurassic Park, helped with Avatar, helped with so many films, Terminator films. He and his team have left their mark on Hollywood, period,
Right.
and pioneering the next technologies for filmmaking and just storytelling in general. I want to bring it back to our original discussion of the new films coming out, the new head
Yeah.
honchos in Disney and Lucasfilm, as kind of a message to them. Don't follow in the mistakes of your predecessors. Just because something is shiny and new doesn't mean it's as valuable as the original template. Meaning storytelling as an art form, not as a copy paste. That is in a nutshell what AI is. Yes, it can produce new images, but new is not the same as original.
Correct.
Original thought comes from here and here.
In its nature,
And
it's not.
And as far as I'm concerned, Skynet, C-3PO, and R2-D2 don't have either, and they're not around right now to make these stories.
As much as I would like them to.
So yeah, so I really hope that with everything that's going on in the market, again, congratulations on your new job, but correct course.
Find your balance, man.
Yeah.
Find a way, because otherwise you kind of lose the soul of what your company is. I mean, in some ways,
Otherwise, the issue of
which is storytelling.
did Star Wars, the next Star Wars film, succeed or not, will not be a conversation of how well did Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni or whoever write this film. The concern will be how much of this movie was AI. And you will have people go, I don't want to watch this shit if this is all AI.
But then
there's no artistry
this
to
is
it.
kind of where the market does come back in, because we did talk about independent studios. And so as these new independent studios do come out, like, listen, you got to get me wanting to spend my money and drive down to theater and be around people and invest my time. Invest my time there. And one of the things, like, I just went and saw a movie that was made by an independent film, and it was fantastic. It wasn't made by a studio. It wasn't made by Warner Brothers. It wasn't made by... It was a horror film, and it made me want to go out and see it.
What'd you go see?
I saw The Mummy.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it was good.
How was it?
It was really good.
Okay, she doesn't want to watch it. My girlfriend doesn't want to watch it.
It was
I
really
have to watch it
gross.
by myself. It was gross?
It was so gross.
Oh, well.
Because it's skin
I
stuff.
guess
It's like
that makes
very
sense.
skin.
Yeah, body horror.
Body horror, skin, all that.
I guess that makes sense.
But anything that's made by A24,
Yeah.
anything made by Neon Films,
Annapurna.
Annapurna, because they're getting into both movies and games, and they have been for a while now. A lot of these smaller studios are being looked at with more seriousness over the big studios who are just trying to buy up all properties and not really invest in any new type of storytelling. And I think that it's telling by people's wallets. As these movies come out opening night or opening weekend and they're not getting the return they thought they would get back. I am still advocating for a lot of these independent films because at the end of the day, it's what is a good story? What's going to get me to come out to actually sit down and invest my time and money to watch it? And am I just going to wait for people are going to start pirating again? People are going to start watching it off site and or just wait for streaming because they're waiting for the runtime to die down in theater and then it come on in streaming for like $7 or $8, you know. So I don't know, man. It's going to be a brand new landscape. I don't want to end it like on a bad note, but
No. Go watch Star Wars.
you know what? Let's talk about this. One thing we are excited about: tickets are about to come out and sell May 6th. Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, don't tell the competition that.
I
I have to compete with more people now, Jesse.
No.
No,
Well,
yeah, the tickets
you know what?
go on
I'll
sale
I'll release this
6th
on May
at
6th.
noon Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah. So
Don't log in when I log in because I want my family
I
and
want
to go.
my tickets. Okay.
Shout
So,
out if you want a ticket because I'm not going to get it for you. I'll just say that I did.
And by the way, this actually goes to the whole thing. We're talking about all these serious things, but the fact that we are still excited to go to
Yeah.
a Star Wars celebration,
Yeah, Star Wars 50.
just for the fact there's going to be a lot of real fans and fans just wanting to be around that atmosphere of good vibes and Star Wars feels and being able to see what's coming up next. That just shows you we still have faith in the or cope. I don't know what it is.
renewed faith, especially after Shadow.
Oh yeah, it's starting.
Shadow
There's
Lord.
some seeds there. You know, seeds are being planted. Again, it'll depend on how Mandalorian and Grogu feels. It'll depend on how this new Star Wars fighter trailer turns out, and Luna's excited as well. It'll depend. But the fact that in 2027 in Los Angeles, there's going to be a bunch of people that want to go see what's next, and they're still dedicated and still loving there. I think that's still a lot of good hope.
Yeah.
In the fan base. There's still lots of channels that people watch on Star Wars. There's still lots of people creating short films on YouTube to watch. Yes, in actual live action, and then yes, also in generative AI. All of it is engagement. All of it is people trying to find alternatives of good stories.
Also, shout out to some of those YouTube channels, Star Wars Tales Untold. What was another one that I watched? Star Wars Legacy Chronicles. Yeah, just look up Star Wars AI. A lot of these fans are, they're really nailing it in terms of what fans would want to see in the first place. If Disney were smart, they would pay attention to those AI films and go, how can we adapt something real into a project somewhat like this? Like, these are Pixar, another one of my favorite companies, or animation studios. They utilize drawing boards. I mean, they all utilize drawing boards. AI can be the next tool for drawing boards, not as a replacement for media.
Yeah.
That's my take, and not to put out
we
artists
just
in
had
general, but
we just had this whole thing about artists and AI. But
Yeah.
the reason I guess we're even just mentioning these AI short films is because, it's getting a lot of views, it's getting a lot of engagement, and the reason why people are even watching them is because they want these type of stories in live action from the studio itself, and so it's actually. It's not that we're trying to, promote it in terms of, thank God this is being promoted so we can get rid of the artists that have not been doing their jobs. No, we're just promoting like, hey, this is the stories we want. And these are just good little out of the Skywalker era stories that we hope to see and that we hope are showing up at places like Star Wars Celebration or on YouTube when you just, dead drop a trailer and we weren't expecting it, So we're excited to get our tickets. We're going to go. We're going to have fun. It's not till like April 1st to 4th of 2027, but tickets going to be sale early because lots of people go in there and buy all these tickets. And you can expect us to be there.
no scalping.
Please no scalping.
Please don't fucking.
We expect
scalp.
it, but please
Yeah.
don't.
Let families go if that's the kind of shit you want to do.
Yeah.
No scalping. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. I'm excited to see the rest of this Maul show. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what new types of projects.
Tonight at midnight.
At midnight.
More episodes.
From when we're filming it this
Yeah.
Sunday.
Pacific Standard Time.
I'm excited to see how it turns out. I'm excited to hopefully see how this new Mandalorian Grogu film turns out too, and then how the new direction of Lucasfilms under Dave Filoni turns out as well.
Yeah.
So we still have a lot of faith, a lot of cope, a lot of hope.
In Dave we trust.
And Dave we trust.
In Dave we trust.
All right, well,
Praise be John.
I think that's it for me.
All right, man. Great seeing you all again.
Great seeing you guys. Bye.
See ya.